life with Tao. Never consider your spouse to be a mere person. Never consider your spouse to be a mere person. The interaction between you and your spouse is much deeper, and it has a deep purpose behind it. When you consider your spouse as a mere person, it gives rise to struggle. When you look at your spouse as the mirror of your actions, then an awakening is born in you for the first time. When you look at your spouse as a mere person, it gives rise to struggle, conflict, etc. And when you look at your spouse as the mirror of your actions, then an awakening is born in you for the first time. When you relate to someone, the other becomes a mirror. He or she mirrors you. As these words overflowed, tears begin to flow from the eyes of a seeker. He realized for the first time that the things for which he had been blaming his wife for long, those were really his own incomplete journey within. This is always true. With these words, the last quarter of the night was nearing. Certain stars were clearly visible in the sky. Same time, Shankar revealed such a mystery that breath almost stopped in everyone present there. Shankar said, sometimes your spouse is the same soul. Sometimes your spouse is the same soul that had lived in a different way in the past life. Your spouse in this life could be your mother or father or friend or disciple or your opponent in the past life. With this, the seekers were filled with disbelief. It is difficult to believe that. But Shankar's eyes had total trust, and no one dared to ask further question for deeper explanation. There was a mystical silence that prevailed there. After a gap of moments of silence, Shankar continued. Soul never looks at the names of the relationships, and for soul the names of relationship is not important. Soul only sees and creates opportunity to grow and evolve. Therefore, the soul that once protected you, that may appear in the next life to give you even more difficult experiences, and one who was your opponent or critic can become very intimate to you in the next life. This we see at times also. And one who was your opponent or critic can become very intimate to you in the next life. Also those who consider as if there is a deep chaos and turmoil in life, as if life has been shaken to its very foundation. For them, relationship was only a matter of present life. Therefore, for them, such situation was not less than a deeper mystery. And Shankar continued to explain this deeper mystery. Among those gathered there, one inquired, though in a fearful gesture, can one ever know really what is the true nature between me and my spouse? With a mystical pause, Shankar responded. With a mystical pause, Shankar responded, mind always wants to know, but the soul wants to recognize first and then realize. Certainly, this recognition is so intimate, almost like a realization. Certainly, this recognition is so intimate, almost like a realization, and this comes through awakening alone. Shankar further explained, unless and until one is freed of the inner chaos, unless and until one is freed of the inner chaos, turmoil, and this inner and constant chatter and noise, one can never realize the true nature of any relation. In order to know what is your relationship with your spouse, there has to be an awakening. Inner chaos, turmoil, constant chatter has to cease. This is why when a seeker comes to a master, first of all he works on the inner chaos, turmoil, constant chatter, and works on it so that it stops and an awakening is dawn. Or why have they been brought together closer? Once you realize why I and this person is brought together and you go deeper into it, something starts becoming clear to you. Also, cannot understand why there is so much intimacy between us. He can only see events, but never the consciousness hidden behind those events. Same time, the dawn started knocking to announce the arrival. And everyone was unaware of the time as it rolled. Shankar continued, many people waste entire lifetime thinking that they have chosen a wrong partner. Quite often the real problem is not in the partner. Problem remains in that message or the lesson that they never wanted to learn. Each relationship teaches a lesson, and that is what is important. These words pierce like an arrow, a sharp arrow, because each person can remember a relationship where he or she only wanted and focused on changing the other. On the aspect of sharp arrow, this concept of bow and arrow was used by Khalil Gibran in his famous work, The Prophet. He describes parents as the bow, children as the arrow, and God or existence as the archer. It is the archer who places the arrow on the bent bow so that it can shoot in any direction far. So these words pierced like a sharp arrow because each person can remember a relationship where he or she wanted and focused on changing the other. This is what happens. Everyone wants to change the other. Then Shankara explained something which was even deeper. The deepest mystery still needed to be unfolded, and seekers were listening to Shankar attentively, spellbound, as he was trying to unfold the deeper mysteries. That moment, Shankar raised his gaze towards the sky and continued. There is still a situation when two souls do not meet or unite to pay off the past debts or to learn something. Certainly, they come together to fulfill a deeper divine or spiritual purpose or mission. Such relationship or union is rare. There is more awakening than mere attraction in that cases. If you and your spouse are brought together for a specific purpose or divine spiritual purpose, then there is more awakening than mere attraction. Attraction is the beginning. However, awakening is more profound reason. There is more freedom than mere right over each other. Love does not remain a mere feeling. Love does not remain a mere feeling. Instead, it becomes deep austerity or sadhana, the way to live moment to moment. Just as you do meditation, you do the other rituals, so love becomes like a meditation or austerity. You are interacting with the person. So hearing this, a question arose within each, as a question arose within you, dear ones. How to recognize such souls? But Shankar did not respond that question immediately. Instead, he closed his eyes and continued to listen to the sound of the nearby river. There was the sound of the river flowing. Shankar continued, there is one such deep indication, and having understood that, you can never consider your spouse the same way as you looked upon your spouse before. Before you can understand that symbol or indicator, it is important to understand the circumstances under which souls choose each other before entering the new life. Saying this, Shankar again became silent as if preparing the seeker for the inner realization. The sun was rising in the east, and with that rising sun, slowly and slowly, a mystery began to take shape within. And as words touched the innerness of the seeker, something strange happened within. Before assuming new birth, souls choose each other. This thought was so full of mystery and its understanding even more difficult. In a low voice, Shankar overflowed. After birth on this earth, as one enters new life, he forgets everything, all the promises, etc. But soul remembers. Soul knows clearly which bondage is to be shattered and how. With this, Shankar took a long, deep breath. Certain souls accept before birth that they will play a difficult role in each other's life. Some will understand to sacrifice, they know the art of sacrifice. Next one will understand forgiveness. Next will understand deeper meaning of love. Hearing this, it appeared as if secret behind infinite relationships was unfolding itself. Shankar was the instrument. As if infinite relationship was unfolding itself like an invisible interplay. Shankar continued, each thinks that the decision of a particular relationship is born in this life, that you come together. However, the seed is sown long before in one of the previous lives. This I explained in the beginning, how the decision of union takes place many centuries, many lives before, but we never pay attention and we consider this as fantasy. Then one seeker inquired, that means everything is decided long before? Yes, indeed. Sri Aurobindo in his epic poem Savitri says, on the dumb bosom of this oblivious globe, although as unknown beings we seem to meet, we are not aliens nor as strangers meet. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. The soul knows the answering soul. Indeed, everything is predetermined. Path may be predetermined. However, now, how will you treat that path will depend on your consciousness. When two people meet, how you will and you feel something within towards that person. How would you follow this path will depend on your consciousness. Soul can decide to come together. However, whether they will blossom in love or drown in love, drown in conflict, this is determined by the present situation and moment to moment karma. As you walk, it is not a road, it is like a thoroughfare. As you take one step forward, a new path becomes open to you. Like you are walking through a dark road, you can see only about 2 steps forward. If you have a torchlight, it has its focus can go only up to a certain distance, maybe of 1 step or 2 steps. When you cover that step, the next 2 steps become clear to you. This is how, when we interact, the soul has recognized the answering soul. Then, according to your consciousness, the present circumstances and situations, you treat that path. With such response, certain seekers went into a deep thinking, because with this secret, both fate and freedom were appearing as two sides of the coin. The fate on one side, that you are destined to meet, and freedom, you can allow that to happen. That will depend on your consciousness. Consciousness manifests through you as your understanding. And as you take each forward step forward, this made others somewhat uncomfortable. But Shankar explained, test does not always mean a punishment. Test does not always mean punishment. Instead, this test reveals your inner maturity, like how you will look at this particular moment and how you will take your steps forward. Whenever someone brings your inner hidden anger to surface, that means the anger was hidden there within. The other has simply got the opportunity to surface that anger. So too, when someone hits your ego, so too, when someone hits your ego sense, that means ego was hiding within from before. Ego is always nourished by ignorance. Ego is the ornament of ignorance, and ignorance nourishes your ego sense. Together they support each other. Quite often, when you relate with someone, that person mirrors your imperfections and faults. But we do not look at. Instead we say, this person makes me angry all the time, as if that person is responsible for it. The reality is that person simply has mirrored you. When you look at the mirror, do you say the same thing? The mirror always makes me look ugly. When you look at the mirror, you realize that you have not shaven or you have not put on the makeup properly or evenly, and you correct it. If you are a woman, instead of, you have to learn to do the makeup in a particular manner, and that is what the mirror is for. To prepare yourself to present for a particular circumstance and situation. When I interact with my spouse, or you interact with your spouse, she mirrors your shortcomings. And suppose you are going somewhere to attend a very important meeting, and you appear in front of your spouse, she mirrors your shortcomings. And is it wise to get angry at that time, or to improve your demeanor at that moment, so that when you present yourself for that particular conference, you are full of confidence, you are full of trust in yourself? And that is why one who learns that art of considering your spouse as a mirror. Mirror first shows your imperfections, and without getting angry or upset, you start working on improving upon your makeup and present yourself with a better demeanor, better presentation. This is the reason each relationship is considered so strong. Let us pause here as I continue this process, and then I will eventually explain how children are born to you. Enough for now.